How's everyone doing? And a wonderful quarantine Thursday here. This is Tom Jenkins with the Cleveland Gaming Classic. Good to see everybody. Thanks for joining me here live. It's good to be back. Hopefully you guys checked out our last interview we did with Tim McVeigh from Man vs. Snake. I am super excited, though, to be back again. I think it was a couple weeks ago. It was awesome seeing you guys join the stream. I'm really excited that we're able to put out some of this content for you guys, keep you hopefully enjoying some content about gaming and history and movies and a lot of other stuff going on as we kind of get ready for our show, which is still scheduled to be on this November. I know there's obviously a lot up in the air right now, but as we said last time, family, safety, everybody's health, well-being is obviously number one priority to everybody. If we can put on the show this year, we're going to definitely try to do so. But if we're not, we're going to keep good content coming. So you can always tune in here to our Facebook page. Please, if you're watching right now, just post this, share this, give us a like, whatever works for you. But please spread the word. Tell everyone what we're doing here in the Cleveland area. If you're not from the Cleveland area, spread the word as well, because we're trying to grow this thing. But thanks again for tuning in tonight. I'm really, really excited. If you can't tell, we've got a cool guest lined up here. We've got Trickman Terry Minnich. He's going to be joining us here in a second. So I am going to try to bring Terry in here. Let me see if Terry, if you and I can get this thing going. Hang on, I'm going to unmute you. You're coming on here. Hang on, Terry. There you are. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Beautiful. This works. All right. So full disclosure, Terry and I have been having a little bit of technology problems. I'm going to blame it on the weather, but if we lose Terry, I'm going to do some stall tactics.
Blame it on me.
But if we do have some problems, I'm going to do some stall tactics for about 45 seconds at a time, keep you guys busy. But Terry, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. So how have you been holding up? What have you been doing?
Well, just hanging in there best I can, doing the whole stay at home and stay safe thing that our governor is basically just saying, hey, everybody shelter in place right now. Nothing's really open except the standard grocery stores and hospitals, things of that nature that are essential businesses, and still the non-essentials are closed, and they're actually just starting to open up.
Because you're aware, for people that don't know, where are you at? Where are you located at?
Oh yeah, I'm in the Chicagoland area in Illinois.
Nice.
Yeah, and so there are some businesses that can still if they can do curbside, they can be open, but they can only do that. They can't even let anybody inside. So that's where we're at right now. And so it's it's kind of just like a waiting game, just waiting for everything to kind of get back at least to semi-normal and then normal. So just like everybody else, I'm kind of in the same boat, just waiting to get out.
We're all cooped up. Have you been doing anything fun at all?
A little bit. I mean, kind of just been doing Animal Crossing, like a lot of other people have
been doing a lot. I just beat it, and I haven't played it since I beat it. Quite honestly,
I didn't even know you could beat it.
you beat it, but then it keeps going. Spoiler alert. Sorry. Okay. So it doesn't really end. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, believe me, I'm nowhere near there. My wife's way more into it than I am, and she's way further than I am. So I'll visit her island, and it looks like a paradise, and then you visit my island, it looks like Gilligan's Island, and it's just like, oh, actually, like way like when they first arrived.
Nothing's changed. Do you guys both have a Switch then? Do you each have a Switch?
Yeah, nice. we each have a portable Switch.
That's cool.
So that was a good no-brainer for us to both get the game.
That's really cool.
So we could visit the islands, and still be able to play our own characters. And
have you caught any tarantulas yet?
Yeah, they're hard.
Yeah, you got to create.
They run up.
Got to create those tarantula islands. You got to get those islands going. That's what it's all about. That's when you start accelerating really fast in that game. At least that's been my experience. So
yeah, I'm sure I'll get there at some point.
Yeah. So Animal Crossing. So I wanted to jump in with Terry and I were talking a little bit before he joined us because we were trying to recall, like, how did we end up here in my basement at Terry's house talking? And it's funny how we actually got in touch. We got in touch through what I was just talking about at the beginning, through Tim McVeigh from our last interview, obviously Man versus Snake. So I don't know, Terry, if you want to maybe talk about how you know Tim, and you were talking about the documentary a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Tim and I met. Boy, it's hard to recall because it was so long ago, but I'll do the best I can. And Tim can come on and slap me if it's wrong. But like, no, that's not it at all.
Not how it happened.
Yeah. But what I recall is we were talking online, I do believe, and then I had talked with Walter Day as well. And there was something going on to where the Midwest, not the Midwest, I'm sorry.
I think it was it wasn't MagFest, but it was some other show.
No, it was
smaller. Yeah.
It was the Video Game Summit. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll get these right because there's so many conventions I get them mixed up sometimes.
No one's fact checking anyways. You're good. At least not yet.
Yeah. So the Video Game Summit was going on, and that's a small little show in Chicago, and Walter Day and Tim McVeigh and Todd Rogers and a few more people were all going to basically go to Chicago and do this video game summit because it was a chance for Tim to talk about where he had been previously, like in the gaming world, and what he had been doing, and there was he had talked about Tim McVeigh Day, and so there was kind of like he was talking about that, and then and Walter had brought some original posters from the from the Tim actual McVeigh day. And I was like, I want one really bad, so so I got a signed Tim McVeigh Day original day poster.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was like, man,
presented by Walter Day.
Yeah, Walter Day and Tim. So it's just like, man, that's cool. I'm like history.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah. So so basically I was like, hey, you know what? I've got room. Why don't you all just stay at my house? And then the next day we'll go to the summit.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go to hotels, and it's just like, I'll put you up. So I put everyone up the day before.
They all stayed at your place?
Yeah, they all stayed at my place, and it's crazy.
How late did you guys stay up? Was it one of those nights or no?
Yeah, it was one of those nights.
Well, do you remember what were you playing or what were you doing? I imagine you were playing something, yeah.
Well, we started out going to a place called Nickel City, and that was a little bit more north in the northern end of Chicago, in the suburbs. But we went there for a little while, and we're just like, okay, this is kind of fun. But I was just like, we can go back to my place and play games too. I've got some cabs, I got some consoles and whatever, and and then whatever, and we're on our way back, and it starts pouring like bad pouring, like pouring, yeah, really bad. And so we get there, and we're all kind of like afraid to get out of our cars because we're just like going to get drenched. It was that kind of thing, like when you go to from your car to your door.
It did that today here, like 3 times in a row.
Yeah. So from your car to your door, and you're just like, you've been out in the rain for like an hour. That's what it feels like.
Yep.
And so it was like that. So we're just like, waiting for it to subside. And then we finally, we're just going to run in. And so we ran in the garage and all, tried to be as dry as we could and dry off. And then like, okay, let's go in the basement. So, and I had a, basement with a very small collection of games at the time. And
at the time.
Yes, at the time. At the time. Yes. And but it was nice enough, for me to say, hey, I'm more than happy to have these guys here and check it out. So, so we played, consoles, and
it's one of those nights.
And
You'll
Yeah,
never forget, right? Those
exactly.
are the best. Those are the best. I mean,
Yeah,
I feel like, we could use one of those. I would love to have one of those, but we're all obviously cooped up. But
right.
everyone's got one of those nights if you grew up
Yeah.
doing that kind of stuff, where it's like you stayed up till 3 a.m. on a
Yep.
cabinet or a console or something,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. So cabs, consoles, and just having fun and just being like,
That's the best.
like, hey, look at this cool stuff. So
That's the best.
yeah, and it was just like, and these are guys from like King of Kong movie that were in here. Very cool,
It's even awesome, more awesome.
Yeah, I'm just like, hey, I got King of Kong people in my basement. That's pretty neat.
And you were sharing with me too that maybe share with people what you're telling me real quick too about how in Man versus Snake, the one scene that you're in with Tim. You want to talk about that for a second? I think it was kind of funny. It was cool.
Yeah, real cool. Yeah, it's like if you blink, you'll miss it type of moment. But basically, when Tim is in his house, spoiler for anybody who didn't see the movie yet, but
Yeah, they had time.
When Tim, yeah, they had 2 weeks.
Yeah, right.
They could have seen it.
Yeah.
So when Tim has his first live attempt in like, I don't know how many years between like that,
Yeah.
like 84 and when this attempt was, it's probably like 2009. Could have been earlier. And he was doing his attempt, and he got like really, really far, like 800 million or something, like some really unbelievable number that's really close to like the billion. And it's just like, wow, this is like probably this might even happen like on the first attempt, and they just losing lives, and we're just like, all of us are just like, our hearts are like that, and we're just like, oh my God, what's going on?
Don't say anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't
we're just like,
move.
Don't say a word.
Like
just,
the couch moves, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. And it's like dogs are barking, and it's like, oh
I
my
remember
God,
that.
don't do this. It's like,
Yeah, you feel so bad for him in that scene.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, and he just ends up, like you see in the movie, just lives go, and suddenly he's just like, I don't know, down to a few lives, and at that point there's just like no recovery.
Yeah, you just
at that point you just know that you're done. So
that's so wild though.
Yeah. So, and then he ends, and then I don't know if that's the one where he puts like the SUX
I don't remember
letters,
either.
or if it's a second attempt. One of them he puts SUX. He's like
he's
obviously
he's upset. Yeah,
he's upset. Yeah.
But
I think this first attempt is the one where I pop in, I'm like sitting on the floor, and then I'd watched like this happen for hours and hours and hours, and and then seeing the ultimate failure at the end, for the billion. I mean, in my eyes, it wasn't a failure, because I'm just like, I'd never seen it, anything like that in my life. Like, I've never seen anybody get that kind of score on a game ever, and doing it for that many hours. I'm just like, man, that was an amazing attempt to watch. And so I basically just said that. I was just like, you know what, that was one of the most incredible things I've seen.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah,
because basically, like, you should be proud of yourself, because after that many years, and you can still do it. I mean, you will obviously be doing this in the future, and I'm kind of like alluding to. And it's
and he did.
Like take heart, it's gonna happen. But
what a good motivational coach you are.
Yeah, I didn't say all those words. In hindsight, I could have said all those words, but I just read like that was
you were there. You had his back.
I was there. I had his back.
That's right.
Yeah. I even I remember the night I came was I had worked an entire day, and then I drove from Chicago to Iowa, and to Oskaloosa, his house.
Yeah.
And then I walk in, and it's just like, man, this is crazy. That there's somebody filming.
Yeah.
And then they ask.
He's got his rig, probably. He's got the film camera crew there, right?
Yeah. And then and I'm basically like, here to support him, and I'm like, I've got this. Tina, you can go to bed. That's his wife, Tina.
Yeah. Yep.
You can go to bed. And she's like, no. And I'm like, don't worry about it. I've got it. I've got it from here on. So I stayed up with him all night, and so she can get some rest. And I hopped on the chat and was, basically like, doing what you guys are doing now. The chat comes on the side and people ask questions, and then it's like, so cool. So I'm just giving him, the feedback from people, and keeping him awake and trying to do all that. So, and then that was basically my perceived job at that point. to do that for him.
Keep him going.
So he
because you can like read him the chat
the next morning.
Keep him busy.
And then Tina got up, and I was like, all right, I'm tired. I'm gonna go take a nap in the other room. And I slept for a number of hours and came back, and he was still going. I'm like, oh man,
that's brutal.
So
So that's how Terry's here today. How he got suckered into this thing. Because Tim's like, hey, I know this guy, Terry Trickman, who you might have heard of, and I can put you in touch with him. And then I con Terry somehow. So welcome. But to that point, let's talk about you for a bit, because we're here to talk about you now.
Okay.
So for people that don't know who you are, why don't you help them out? Why don't you give us you can embellish as you please here.
Okay. All right. Well, I've been known as Trickman Terry because for 10 years I worked as the editor for a magazine called Electronic Gaming Monthly, and I worked on the Tricks of the Trade section. And I also worked on a magazine called Expert Gamer, which was basically the second iteration of what was known as EGM 2, because there was a sister magazine that came out because they wanted to make more money on EGM.
So I was just going to say, I didn't want to say it, but I was going to say it. I figured that was why.
Cash grab.
Yep, that's what they call it.
I'll say it right now.
That's what they call it in the biz. They're like, a lot of people are subscribing here. I wonder if we could spin this thing off and get more subscribers.
Yep. Yeah. So I was working for both. And then there was other magazines that came out later. Official PlayStation magazine. There was tricks, codes, and strategies and things of that nature. So there was all kinds of different magazines that spun off from the original EGM. So I worked on a lot of those, and over the years, like I said, for 10 years I did that. Started in 91 and it ended in 2001.
So how did you get the gig at EGM? How did this happen?
How does one get a gig
get a gig at a video game magazine? I'm curious to know.
Yeah, total fluke, but it worked. I was happy.
Sandwich board guy out front, like
yeah. I want a job.
Need a job. I play video games.
I play games, exactly.
Right,
I play games. Give me a job.
Give me a job. Pay me money. I'll talk to you about games.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah. If it were only that simple. But actually, back in that time, before the internet, before anything else, we had some local trade shows, and these were not like trade shows you're thinking of, like E3 or anything. This is basically like they rented out a school gym, and they had people come with their duffel bags full of games, and everybody, some people had tables, some people didn't, and
like a swap meet, like a swap meets now.
It was really a swap meet,
like a dirty swap meet.
Yes, but only for games, and so
it
was just a gaming swap meet. So I called it a trade show, but let's say a trade show, trading games, to other people. So sometimes paying money, sometimes trading. So that's what I and I would frequent those, whenever they would have them. I think it was put on by something called Mars Merchandising, and they used to put out. They had a store. They had games and things.
Okay,
like that. That's where I guess.
So they sponsored like a show they run or something.
Exactly.
Once a year.
Yeah. They sold
their plug.
Geo.
Okay.
It was really cool. I'm like,
Neo Geo, nice.
Back in the day,
dude, that was like
when the carts were like $200.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like when no one, like when you hoped you had that one friend that had it, because You never had it.
Yeah,
I never
I was
had
the
it.
one friend.
Oh, you were the friend? Oh
I was
man.
the friend. Yeah.
Oh
So,
man. I had one friend that had it too, and I was like, "Hey, what are you doing later? We coming over?"
yeah. No, I
Oh
really wanted one
man.
so bad, so I was like, okay, let me do it.
God, yeah.
But anyway,
Things I wish I had.
um,
So you're at the show.
right. I'm at the show. There's a table set up by the owner / owner publisher, Steve Harris.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Steve
So
Harris,
Steve Harris is
Steve Harris, is the owner of Electronic Gaming
EGM,
Monthly,
yeah.
and a bunch of sister magazines at the time. And he is at a table signing up people for editors because his mentality
For
was,
editors?
yeah,
I thought you were gonna say for subscriptions.
nope,
Okay.
nope, for people to write for the magazine, because his mentality, I'm surmising what his mentality is,
Sure.
but his mentality, I believe at the time, was that if they know how to play games, that's the number one priority. Because if they can't play games, then why do I want them? I can get a writer
Yeah.
anywhere.
No, it makes sense.
I can't get a gamer anywhere.
Yeah, you can't teach a writer how to be a video game. I mean, you could,
exactly.
but you're gonna know that they're faking it, or they're not passionate about it, or whatever, right?
Right. Yeah. So you might as well get a passionate, person who knows how to play games first, and if they know how to write, check the box.
Wonderful. And if they don't, we'll send them to some local school 2 nights a week, and they can figure it out.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. We'll just have them write poorly,
figure it out,
and then figure it out afterwards.
We have people that can clean that up, right?
Yeah. If you look at some really early issues of EGM, you'll find out when we did get copy editors and when we didn't have them yet.
You can tell.
You can tell. It's very easy.
I love how you can tell with like the covers. I mean, I was doing a little bit of research obviously for this, and I was like, oh man, like some of those early covers were fun. I was gonna use the word fun. Or fun,
but bad.
Funny, funny / bad.
Yeah.
They got better quickly though.
Yeah, they did. I mean, but yeah.
So you're at the show. You meet Steve.
So it was born out of passion. That's what he wanted.
Exactly.
He wanted passionate people that were into this stuff before he wanted a writer.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's the way to do it, right? I mean, it worked out, right?
It worked out. Yeah.
So you meet Steve at the show. He signs you up.
I'm like, where do I sign?
Cool.
So I signed it, and then didn't hear back for a while. But I tracked down the number, from where it was, and it was local to me. It was maybe 20 minutes from my house.
That's wild.
Like,
because they were headquartered in Illinois, right? I mean,
they were in Lombard, Illinois at the time. Yeah, and I was in West Chicago, Illinois at the time, which was like I said, only about 20 minutes. So and then I was working at an electronics boutique, which became an EB, which became EB Games, which became all the rest of them, the GameStop now. So,
okay.
So
I didn't know EB Games was GameStop. I did not know that.
Yeah. They were GameStop, and GameStop acquired them and somebody else, and basically just like all merged, and then they were GameStop at that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So did you leave your job at EB Games then? And oh wow, did you turn in your badge?
Well, yeah. Well, I worked there at the time, and I was like looking. I was paging through the magazine, like poring over it. I'm just like,
yeah,
I want to work here. I want to work here. I want to work here. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Pouring. Yep. So I basically would just like call over there.
Good for you.
Constantly. Yeah. I was like, hi, I signed up with Steve, and and
you guys got a job for me?
Yeah. Basically, yeah. I bugged them to death. So
that's hilarious.
until they gave me an interview. So, and they're asking me questions. I'm like, yeah, I'll do this. I can do this, and I can.
So how many people worked there when you first started? I mean, it looked like it was a pretty thin crew from when in 91. 91.
Yeah, if you look at the masthead, it's not that large. And there were divisions of groups too, because there was CGR, Computer Game Review at the time, and so some people worked on the Computer Game Review, some people worked on Electronic Gaming Monthly. Other people worked on some like side issues, things of that nature. And so, but I mean, we were all kind of like in one room anyway, but I don't know, there could have been 10, 12, possibly with the entire, the entire crew with like all those people. So
what was the office like? Was it like, I'm envisioning kind of like what you see from like Atari type stuff where it's like wood paneling? I don't know, if it's like
it was
super old school or no, was it? I mean,
it was kind of like a typical office in the 90s. I don't know if
yeah,
I mean, just white walls, nothing there.
cubes. They're cubes then.
Yeah, with cubes. So yeah, we had cubicles and we made cubicle forts.
Nice,
basically.
as you should. I imagine it was a pretty cool job, though. I mean,
it was like
any kid's job, dream job, right? Like, hey, what do you do? A writer for a video game magazine. And at the time, like,
I was stoked.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what did your friends think? We're like, oh, this guy owns both a Neo Geo and he works for a video game magazine. Terry, what are you doing?
Neo Geo a little later because it was I had to be able to afford it, but
you got it.
But I got it. I mean, some friends were into it, and then it's funny because like one of my best friends ended up working there later on too. So it's cool. Kind of funny. So I was like, hey, this guy knows what he's doing. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I got a couple of my friends into there, and then I met a whole bunch of friends that I still keep up with.
That's great. So all that stuff happens. So you joined them. What was it? 91.
91. Mm-hmm.
So like I said, I did some homework. So I'm gonna see if this works. So I found this.
Oh, look at that.
This was issue 29. So fun fact, I could find issues 1 through 27. I could not find issue 28 online, but I could find issue 29. Excuse me. I could find 27, 1 to 27, not 28, and then 29 the rest. So I don't know what issue 28 looks like, but I did not know if this was your first issue that you wrote for or not. Or you remember.
Was 28 Turtles?
No, 28 was not Turtles because I think I've seen that one, and I think I have
Turtles after this.
Turtles was before Turtles 2, Turtles the Arcade.
Turtles the
TMNT 2 for the NES. I think that was.
It looked like the box art for like the.
I don't know offhand. I'll see if I can find it. But on the one database I was going through, I'm like, oh man, this is the first one where I saw your name in the masthead. Okay. So I was like, maybe this is it. I don't know.
Either this or Turtles was the one that I started. So I can't remember which one.
But some of these ones, like I like the artwork on these ones.
But do you notice anything about this?
Tell me. Legend of Zelda 3.
You're an arcade gamer as well, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Take a look at the castle. Tell me what it is.
Hang on. Let me see. I'm going to hide you for a second. Hang on here. Is that? I'm trying to look at the game site. Is that what is it? It's saying Castlevania 4 on the cover. I don't know. I was gonna say Dragon's Lair. That's what I was thinking it was Dragon's Lair, but I'm like, that can't be Dragon's Lair.
It is. So he superimposed Dragon's Lair because it was a cool looking castle, and he put that, and then
But why with Legend of Zelda? I'm looking on the cover
just because it looked cool.
Because it's saying Castlevania. There's Zelda. Can't be Dragon's Lair came out in what year?
83.
So why? Okay.
Because it was a cool looking castle.
Because in my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm like 91 arcade castle.
It's an early Photoshop mashup, is what it is.
Before those things were popular.
Before mashups were popular.
Mashups were a thing.
Yeah. This is one of the early mashups, and
that's so funny.
It was just because it was cool looking that Steve Harris did it. This was a Steve Harris cover.
So Steve drew these. Or
no, he
picked out like, hey, here's
what I
wanted.
He photoshopped the images.
Steve would do that
onto he knew how to do stuff.
Get out of here.
He was really talented.
Wow.
Very smart guy. I got to give him credit because he started a magazine where nobody really knew what they were doing.
Yeah, this is like a new thing.
And he got a whole bunch of gamers to do this and enjoy it and basically do whatever he asked him to do for the longest
Because like
time.
the magazines then was Gamepro a thing, right? Gamepro was a thing at that
GamePro
time.
was the thing. Mm-hmm.
And then there was obviously Nintendo Power. What else
Mm-hmm.
was
Game Players magazine, I believe,
yeah, I was
was
a
out.
GamePro and Nintendo Power guy.
Yeah,
I did
most
get
people.
EGM, but I always had a buddy who would feed me EGM stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
don't hate me, sorry.
I don't care at this point.
At this point, yeah.
I don't have any loyalty.
Yeah, I got no loyalty anymore.
I mean,
Yeah, but I remember GamePro, Nintendo Power, obviously EGM though.
Yeah.
But like those were, I mean, this kind of taking me to my
Yeah.
next question, but like that was how
At the time, that was it.
got everything, right?
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
it's so funny because I mean, for younger generations, they're never going to understand like, and I know there's stuff out there. People talk about like when you used to go, we had a video game store rental, like everyone did, whether it was a grocery store or local video game store,
Right.
a rental place like a
Yeah.
Blockbuster, but local
Mhm.
chain. And you'd go there either buy a game or rent a game, and you'd get home and it would suck because they were just cranking out these titles so
Yeah.
fast. Or you had Nintendo Power, which they'd always say every game is the greatest game, no matter what, on the NES.
Yeah. Right.
And then you'd hope maybe that EGM or GamePro would be like, hey, you know, they delicately say without trying to piss off the developers that this game kind of sucks.
A lot of us didn't care what the developers had to
So that-
say, but
yeah.
but Ed Samrad did. he
Well, you kind of
he-
have to, right? I mean,
he
it's
was
like,
he was just like, yeah. I mean, he actually that's not entirely true
because like how would that work?
He went against the grain a lot.
But that's what I'm saying. Like
with
all these
them.
magazines, right? I went through a
Mhm.
ton of these, and it's like, you know, it's like 100 pages, right? And a
Yeah.
lot of it's ads for the games. So it's like you can't have an ad for let's stick with Dragon's Lair for a minute, but like the NES port of Dragon's Lair is
Yeah.
obviously terrible.
Poor, right?
It's poor, right? It's
Yeah.
very poor. But then you
Mhm.
can't have an ad like in EGM advertising how good Dragon's Lair is on one page, and then your editor or reviewer for Dragon's Lair is like, "Oh, this game is terrible. Like I'd never pay for this."
Strangely enough, we were for the longest time, since we were kind of like the only guys in town that were reliable and trustworthy. We did pretty much say exactly what was on our minds, and it did translate to that. But sometimes I think the powers that be were just like, can you be a little nicer to that? Like at least move it up 1 point or something. Geez, but but other people were just like, I ain't
Whatever.
changing it. I ain't changing anything. This is
Right.
exactly how
Ship
I
it.
feel. So I was like, okay, cool, done.
Ship it.
And
that's what
and
I
so
always
yeah,
wondered.
and so really that was about the time when you could get away with it and people didn't really care. And try doing that nowadays, and people just people pull their ads.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, if you try doing
Yeah.
that now, and that's what you can tell. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like when I go to like IGN or Kotaku is a little better about it, I think. But like I mean, they pay their bills, right? So I feel like, and it's no different than it probably was at EGM too. But I feel like
Mhm.
there's a much finer line to walk now, right? Like even when they give reviews, like half the time they're not giving a review; it's their thoughts about it, and there's no like 1 through 5 scale half the time. It's just like, here's what I think.
Yeah. But think of the sheer amount of sources now versus then. But back then you only had a few sources to actually get this information, and so they the game companies really couldn't do a whole lot to say. I mean, they could have just been like calling you up and gotten pissed, but then, oh well, what are you gonna do?
Right,
now?
exactly.
What are you gonna do? It's already out there, and
Sorry,
and
we already printed it.
yeah.
Thanks for your ad. Thanks for the ad from
Yeah. That's about it. And
create a better game.
Yeah, but they also didn't want to pull their ads either because we were also very, very popular.
Right. Yeah.
So
You're in every kid's house, right? I mean,
yeah. So it's so at that point it's just like get better, get better testing or something.
Get better developers.
Yeah. Do better on your next one.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so I think I don't know if we've got to it yet, but so we gotten through you know, how you obviously came to EGM and your story there.
Mm-hmm.
But you're known as the Trickman. Why are you known as the Trickman? I'm gonna set you up for hopefully a softball.
Yeah. Oh, hit me in the head.
What? I didn't expect this question.
Ah, yeah. Because when I started there, everybody started on what were called spreads, and the spreads were either 1 or 2 pages of the magazine that covered one game, and then you had to basically learn how to use the equipment, because if you were brand new and you were just a gamer, you didn't know how to use anything. So we used Macintoshes, and we learned
Hmm.
how to use Quark Express and Photoshop 1 at the time. I think, like very very early Photoshop,
Yeah.
and some rendering programs for titles and things of that nature. So and then taking pictures and all that, we could get that more into that later.
Yeah.
But you basically had to learn how to do it and then get good at it, and then okay, now I can now I'm going to be a contributing person. It wasn't like like a conveyor belt type of thing. It wasn't like, okay, one person's going to write, this person's going to do pictures, this person's going to do
You did it all for your.
yeah, you did everything. You were the jack of all trades for the publication. That's how we worked it. And so we did
So
all the
you owned your piece of.
you owned your piece. Yeah. You
That's cool.
did everything. You did your own background, you did everything. So you were responsible for your pages, and that was it. So all that to say is that there were other sections besides just doing a preview on a game, reviews and everything else. There was a section called Next Wave, which would have preliminary pictures of games that were coming.
Okay, cool.
And there was Tricks of the Trade, which I worked on. Well, actually, I didn't start working on, but then there were a couple of newer guys that had started, and we were kind of like trading off jobs in the beginning. We were just like, okay, I'll do Next Wave this month, you do Tricks next month, okay. Fine. And then we traded it off, and then I was kind of like, yeah, Next Wave's okay, and then the other guy that was doing it was like, yeah, I kind of like Next Wave. So I'm like, so you want to do Next Wave and you want me to do Tricks? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I did Tricks, and then we basically discussed, do you want to keep doing this and do you want to keep doing that? Sure, I'll do this and then you do that. Fine. And so I just ended up doing Tricks of the Trade many times in a row. Got good at it.
Got a sample here on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an old one. And then kind of just made a sidebar and made some sort of name for myself. And then the alliteration was oh, of course he's got to do Tricks because Trickman and Terry go together.
Like
so
Quarterman too, right? There's
there's Quarterman, Trickman, Sushi X. There was So there were personalities made throughout being good at or doing a certain section of the magazine. So it was just like, well, this was just hand in hand. This is Trickman Terry. Now he's going to be doing the Tricks of the Trade, and then that's it. And so it was like, come up with some, cool anecdote to put on the side and and make up something. And so the
anecdotes, I was looking at some of these. They're kind of funny. Yeah,
yeah. The anecdotes are they're it was just like we got to develop them like right at the end of the magazine. Deadline's just about over, and we're just like, okay, what's Trickman? What's Trickman gonna do this month? What's he gonna do? I don't
make up a story.
Yeah, it's like 3 a.m. I'm like, I don't know. What am I gonna do? and so it was a partial truth in my life, and it was a partial farce. So it was a combination of things, because it was like here's some exaggeration. Yeah, there you go. It was an exaggeration of some things that were really happening. It was like, Trickman, took his big white boat, and that was basically what I called my car, because it was this big 1976 jalopy.
Yeah.
That was white, and then whenever I pulled in, it was just like you knew it was me.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's cool.
And I was like the one that always got designated to take people to lunch because I could fit everybody in my
everyone
car.
in your car. Nice.
Yeah. So I was like, Trickman takes his big white boat and crashes it into the thing. You know, like he's gonna have to like take the trick letters and burn them for fuel this month. And so it was just like this is ridiculous about because he has no money because he has to pay off this. He has to pay off the mechanic or something.
I want to read the one that I had on the screen here. I want to read that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
because
they're ridiculous.
They are funny to read. Hang on, let's see if I'm gonna see if I can get it back. I don't know if I can read it or not. If I can zoom in, I lost it now. But yeah, you can see at least on that left bar. I can't read all the writing right now, but yeah, it's one of those. I can't read it. I've got it so small on here right now. But then I've got this too. I found this one. This one I thought was funny. Just like the this one. Hang on, let me move the logo. But I think it's so funny. It's like
1993.
I know, right? Like Trickman,
big letters,
best tricks and tips, 1993. It's like that is awesome though. Like that's cool, right?
Yeah.
Do you have that frame anywhere in your house? Like, do you have any of these printed off? What the heck, man? Come on.
No, it's just like it's just like the actors who say that they never watch their movies. It's the same way. It's just I don't go back I don't go back in the magazines and be like, hey, I remember when I did that.
But this is cool. Like if it was like Tom's best tricks and tips 1993, like that's cool.
I'll have to go through my archives and look for that.
Yeah, come on. I expect next time we meet, like you're gonna have it right in your background behind you. Maybe I'll send you a copy framed or something like that. It's hilarious. I just think it's cool. Like I was going through the archives. I'm like, dude, that's pretty sweet. Like that's pretty.
I did have a poster.
Okay.
I did have a poster.
What was on the poster?
It's thin version of me, coming through a circle and like stepping through a circle with a big foot, and me like going like this, like in the circle, like trying to get through.
Circa Photoshop too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. More Photoshop, and it said, and the whole poster was Nintendo 64 tricks. It was like an entire.
Oh, nice.
Like. I don't know how big, maybe like 18 by 24.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Size poster.
Just of all of them like scattered around the whole thing.
Yeah. Just like all the tricks. And then like me in the corner and then coming out of that circle and then having another anecdote like about Nintendo 64 tricks and what I blah, blah, blah did with it.
Yeah.
And then on the back was Yoshi's story. I remember it was a poster of Yoshi's story, so you could put it either way.
Yoshi's story,
yeah.
That was for NES, wasn't it? Yoshi's story, or was that SNES?
No, it was Nintendo 64.
Was it 64?
Yeah. Hopefully, I'm not wrong.
No, I was thinking of Yoshi. Oh, Yoshi's Cookie. I was thinking of.
Yeah,
right?
Cookie was
NES. Yeah. Sorry,
I did a spread on that. I remember that.
Gosh, that game.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's cool.
But yeah, I did. But I still have maybe about 2 of those posters left. The rest of them got trashed. But I do.
Are they rolled up somewhere in like a tube?
They're rolled up.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's cool. These are some fun stories. So I was wondering as I was doing my research. So like I'm gonna bring another one up. See, I've got all these ready. Isn't this kind of cool? It was kind of fun, right? Seeing some of the stuff.
Oh, you know what?
But like, where did? Okay, so it's 91, it's 92. Like, where, who, how are you guys finding these? Are like the developers? Do they feed you guys like, hey, if you do up, down, left, right, BA, like that happens, and we want you to put that in the magazine. Like, can you walk me through that?
Yeah. Developers did not want us to do this.
Okay.
They didn't even want this section to exist.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, unless it was some developers that actually had something that didn't literally spoil a game. The programmers put them in just so they could go back. They would put an Easter egg in, basically a back door, so they could get back into the game and be able to play through to a certain spot, or have invisibility because they were still testing it, and they left the code in. And so whenever they left the code in,
you're kidding me.
Yeah. And whenever they left it in, they didn't reprogram it, and they're just like, get it out the door, and then left the code in, and so all these games just had the developer code just left in there.
But so then, how would you guys figure this out? I mean, how? Because I always wondered that. Like, even looking back now, I'm like, how the heck is all this stuff? How does it come out? Right?
Yeah. It had to have been. I'm surmising on a couple of these things, but
No, you're fine.
Other things I know.
I didn't know if there's like an intern sitting around press like every button combination.
Oh gosh. Well, yeah, that would have been me. I would have tried.
You're like, hey Terry, we're gonna give you this job, but here's what you're gonna be doing all day.
Can you imagine if that was it, and then I had to figure all of them out? I mean, it's funny because kids at that time thought that I was figuring it all out.
That's what I'm saying.
God, this guy's awesome because he can figure it out.
Right.
There's no possible way I could have figured them all out, because we would never have gotten the magazine.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you had to do this within like a couple of weeks' time.
Hold on, I need 2 more days. I feel like I'm gonna hit something here. I'm on combination 1252.
Yeah. We wouldn't have had like 6 or 7 pages of tricks at that point, because you wouldn't have gotten through like trick number 2.
Right.
So So yes, there were some testing sessions that we did, and just because we wanted to try different things. I mean, you would try some of the obvious things, or just sometimes play around and just see if something would happen. And sometimes something did, but the more likely scenario was, here's a big spoiler. Well, actually, the letters that came in, I had the job of opening these large bins, like mail, like when the mail bins come in, and they have just like full of, I had like multiple bins full of mail all the time, like every month, and there's like, here's your tricks, and then people would mail it in because we would offer them a free game.
That's right.
If they got it published.
Yeah.
And they got their name and their
it would say that below the tricks of the trade, that little
they would get their name and their state, or name in their city and their state published, and and people would really want to see their name in print, and they'd be like,
sure,
that was me,
I got this in, I figured it out.
Exactly. And so somehow kids were like playing around with something and figured it out, and like tested them, so they were like kind of like the the
so they call crowdsourcing
the at home the outsourced trick people that were that were actually getting it right and then sending it in. And man, it was tough, because like sometimes things were just like, I know this one, I know this one, I know this one,
and going through all this stuff.
Oh my gosh, those were days and days of like going through like those bins, and that was terrible. I'm just like, and once in a while you come upon a gem, and you're just like,
really?
Oh, didn't know that. Let's try it. And then you're trying it, and then nothing works. You're like, oh, and so we tried it multiple times, different ways, and it doesn't work. And then you're just like,
you just got punked by some 8-year-old.
Yeah, punked, right? Exactly. Yeah.
He's like,
some of them were people who were trying to punk you, and then others were like, yeah, I really want my game, and so if this is legit, it's going to get printed.
Yeah. And
then it'd be like, hey, this actually does work. Cool. Let's get the method. Let's get the method down perfectly.
That's funny though, because I always just assumed that developers wanted, and programmers at the developers like wanted that to get out, because I figure, like as a kid, like that's kind of cool, right? It's like, oh hey, did you know? Right? I mean, for that time, like today, that wouldn't be whatever. I could just find it on YouTube or on my iPhone in 3 seconds. It's
not like it used to be.
Correct. There's no fun behind that, right? I mean, we used to. I mean, even with EGM and Gamepro, like you used to have to go on GameFAQs, and you'd be like scrolling through the large text-based things, like when that first was.
Even before that.
Yeah, I know, but even before that, right? So I'm saying, like, if you saw it in a magazine, you're like, oh man, that's cool. Like, I kind of want to get this game or try it out, so I can try putting this code in, right? Or like I feel like I always thought it was like a marketing ploy.
Yeah. Very few times would the publishers actually give us something. Once in a great while, we they threw us a bone, and they're like, here, do this because it's not going to spoil it. He's like, here's a big head code, but it's not going to be an invincibility.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
So someone's going to break the code of the game.
Right. Exactly. So once in a while they throw us a bone. The other source was Japan. There was a publication called Famitsu magazine. I think it was Famitsu something. It was mostly called Famitsu,
because they were probably ahead of us, right? I mean, they're
and so because a lot of this was developed in Japan before it came over here. We got the ports,
right?
And so let's say like
sometimes the good ones, sometimes the bad ones.
yeah. Let's say it's Contra 3,
right?
Okay, for Super Nintendo. So we get the magazines and we're like, here's their trick section. We didn't really know how to read Japanese, except I knew how to read. I learned how to read, like letters and certain things, so I could kind of figure some of them out on my own. And the other ones that we just couldn't get the rest of it, like it needed more explanation. We faxed. We scanned the pages and we faxed them over to a Japanese correspondent.
I was going to ask if you had like a translator or someone that you
did
outsource that work to.
Yeah, we did. And and so we would fax that over there, and then he would send back the translation, and then we would look and be like, oh, and let's see if it works on the beta they just gave us of the American version of the game.
Nice, cool.
And then we checked it out, and if it worked, we're like, cool.
Publish.
And that came back to bite me in the butt a couple of times because since they were on the EPROMs, the unfinished copies.
Right. If they had
updated the code, it was gone.
Yeah.
And then we already
published it, and it's like, oh, I got it stripped out. Right.
Yeah. And then was just like, oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's like it didn't exist, or these codes didn't exist, or these passwords didn't work.
So you guys got a lot of beta copies of those games then before they.
Oh yeah.
Whatever happened to all those?
That was the reviews.
Who's got those? Man, did you have to ship those back most of the time?
Well, let's just say a lot of them were shipped back, and a lot of them were supposed to get shipped back. And who knows what happened to them after that?
Man, somebody
at
EGM, maybe Steve's holding on to those 30 years later. He's just waiting to cash in those chips. It's going to show up on some heritage auction for.
Yes.
Wish he had a copy of those.
Yeah. Unsure of the location of some of these, but
that's wild.
Yeah. But in any case, we had those to work with, and so that's when we tested them on there. And so finally, I had to, I had the brilliant idea of like, well, all right, why don't we do this? Let's put in a disclaimer on the bottom. Say works on the prototype version of the game, may not work on final copy.
That works.
So at least we had some disclaimer on there, or works on Japanese version, may not work on American.
Yeah.
We had to do certain things like that because we were trying to get this as quickly as possible and beat everybody else to the punch. And that's
right, because you want people to pick up the copy, that way they take it home and they're like, hey, I got the code, it's in here, right? Yeah. Right.
And heck, if it was something like that GamePro saw later and they did it, whatever.
Yeah.
So one of them that I remember waiting on was Contra 3, the Alien Wars for
SNES, yeah.
For Super Nintendo. And we had we'd had some people go over to Japan. There were some Japan trips. I never got to go. Darn it!
Wow.
But there were some Japan trips, and
to go to like Konami or Capcom's or whoever's headquarters. Wow.
Yeah, to check out things. Sometimes trade shows. Just there was like Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
And so that was still going on at the time, and so there was all kinds of reasons to go, and then some of the trips were, everybody put in requests for the people that were going to go get them the games, because they were going to appear in Japan first,
of course.
So Contra was one of them. So we're like, yeah, we definitely want Contra. Heck yeah! And so we brought Contra back, and then the codes for like 30 lives and unlimited this and that.
Mm-hmm.
They all worked on the Japanese version, but then I was like, well, we probably shouldn't print these until we figure out if they're going to work on the EEPROM. So we held off, didn't print anything, and then we get the EEPROM and we test the codes, and they're gone. They're completely out of there. And then it was funny because I saw GamePro like putting in, hey, Contra 3 Alien Wars, blah blah blah, codes work, and I'm like,
nope.
haha,
not gonna work.
It was like you didn't take the wait and see approach like I did. So.
Yeah. Well, you guys learned, right?
Lessons learned. Yeah. It was lesson learned. Yeah.
That's funny though. That's some cool stories. So I do have one, which I wanted to share. Some people might be familiar with. Oh
boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
As he says, oh boy.
The one.
One. Shenlong, right? Do you want to tell people about this? This is kind of a cool story. I think this is worth talking about for a hot minute, right?
If you ever get to interview Ken Williams, he's the guy to tell the story on this. Yeah, I will do the best I can.
But you were there, right?
He's still the man.
He's like the father.
He tells it perfect, and he.
All right.
Yeah. But I will.
You were there at the time, and
I will be the lackey. I will be the lackey version of the story.
You're really selling it.
So at the time, from what I can recall, 30 years ago, 30 plus years
under oath.
Yeah, under oath. Yeah. Was that Ken was playing around with an early version of Photoshop, and he just happened to change some colors on some of the characters because he was taking screenshots for. I mean, he was going to be doing like this excuse me, this really cool guide that would have like every move
for Street Fighter. Yeah, for
Street Fighter, he was the Street Fighter guru. He was the best guy in the office. He was the best Street Fighter player in the office. If it came out now, or let's say it was like back then, and you got like the best players, like the, I don't know, the gurus now of the game. He could rival them. I mean, he was like that guy. He was amazing. Probably is still that amazing to this day. But in any case, he was playing around the Photoshop, playing around with colors and hair. It's like, oh, let me put a headband on this guy. Let me extend his hair. Let's put this. Let's make the hair white.
I can hide. I'll just put them all back. I'll put them all back. Sorry. Okay. But yeah, I mean, like I was looking at this stuff to your point. It's like, it looks unbelievable. Like the Photoshop in this looks pretty incredible.
Yeah. For the time being. Right? Yeah. For the time, it was pretty amazing. So so he created just like a new character out of nothing. And he's like, hey, check this out. And we're all coming to his desk and we're like, what the heck? Where'd you get this guy? He's like, I made him up. What? You made him up.
You see this image like full screen. It looks like legit. Yeah. Like it's unbelievable.
Yeah. And then another let's say contributor, another one of the guys came up. His name is Ray Price. He's like, why don't you give him a flaming dragon punch? That'd be awesome. So on one of them he put flames around his fist. It's just like that's really cool. Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, what the and I don't. So here's where it gets fuzzy for me, and I'm sure Ken has got the perfect answer where I don't. Someone, it could have been Steve Harris himself, was like, why don't we make that the April Fool's joke? We had an April Fool's joke last year, and it seems like people fell for it. Let's do it this year. We're like, man, we are gonna kick so many people off with this if this goes through. It's like, okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
Let's do it. So So there were different contributions. I'm not going to say how many different contributions were by how many people, because really I don't remember. But in the text and in the pictures and whatever, well, Ken himself is responsible for those Photoshop pictures. He was the man.
Really?
He did it. So the pictures are him. Like his skills. Back in the day. And I think he still has those pictures on his hard drive or something.
The Rue or Ryu or
I don't remember,
because that could have used a little improvement. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
the photoshopping was amazing.
I don't remember. I don't remember if that was somebody outsourced or somebody provided it for us, and we're just like, yeah, here it is. It's him. Why not? Yeah, it's not the best. Let's be honest.
No. Those Photoshop images were.
But heck, I mean, we're just like, hey, we can make the letters go around this guy. I mean, that was pretty cool stuff back then.
And even had fonts up top, which, to your point, I mean, you mentioned this earlier. I mean, back then, you guys did not have, photoshopping tools. I don't even know how you guys captured gameplay footage, which is a question I had. But I mean, the font and everything.
I can tell you that one, but go ahead. But go ahead.
Like the Shenlong, as it says up top, it's like it's in the font. It matches like the pixelated look of the screen. Everything looks.
He took a lot of care.
Yeah,
and did it right. Yeah.
So how did you guys actually capture? I always wonder, like, how did you guys take screenshots? Like, you see these maps where it's like showing a Metroid walkthrough and it's like screen by screen. I'm like, who does this?
Right. Okay. So we were working on Macintoshes, and the Macintoshes were known way more for graphics than a PC was at the time. So we were working on these things called 2FXs and 2CIs, and if that means anything to anybody, fine. But that's what we had at the time. Installed into these, how like you can install more RAM into a computer. You can install graphics cards into them. This was basically a graphics card. It was called a raster ops capture board, and it was able to take pics through through special cables that were hooked up to each system. So we went to, I think it was called Redmond Cable in California. I don't even believe I remember that. But they made cables that hooked up to the systems that we were using, and then they would go into, I believe, an RGB export, and then import it in.
So painful.
Yeah, and then import it into the card, because the card was able to take that, and then you were able to see the image on the screen. And here's the painful part. The painful part was that you had it on in a little window on your screen at the same time as you had it hooked up like composite to your TV. So you're playing it on your TV, or you're just playing it and like looking on here, and you had to get the right timing to capture this, because like if you're throwing something, it's a projectile, you had to actually like hit, let's just say it's like,
print screen.
Like hit the letter C. Okay. For capture. Let's just say that was it. I don't know. I don't remember. but I think there were macros. Yeah. We programmed macros to do captures. And so when we hit this combination of keys, it would capture. So you had to get it right at the right time. And if you missed it, you had to go back and do it. Yeah. Kill yourself, try again to get the, so you're trying to get the shot over and over again, because there's a delay. Because this is,
you have to learn
this is 1991 technology.
Like 1.5 millisecond delay. Just
exactly. Try again, because you've got a delay. So so maps, I'll tell you that one was, you scroll into a certain spot, pause in the game, capture, scrolling to a certain spot, pause in the game, capture, and then taking Photoshop and pasting them and stitching them together. Yeah, either up or down or sideways.
we all admit like those were the greatest things ever. When you'd
Maps
see
were
like
cool.
The Legend of Zelda or Metroid or whatever it was, and you'd see them all stitched together, and they'd show like the elevator going down. And it's like,
It
who is
was
doing this? That was
usually
incredible.
one individual person for each spread
Oh.
was doing that, and
Oh,
that was painstaking.
Funny
Really,
though.
really tough.
So
But
we were
did it.
talking about. Sorry, I totally derailed you too. I'm good at
That's all
this.
right.
We were talking about the Shen Long thing.
Yep.
Um, I don't know if we want to. What else you want to talk about there?
The reaction of it.
Yeah.
Oh, people were pissed.
Really?
Yeah, we got so many hate letters. Oh, we got
But it's just unbelievable, like what you guys are asking. Like, there's absolutely no way.
They wasted their tokens because you can see that the person is in there is WA tokens, so they're wasting tokens. Hello.
Yeah. But it's like, what is it? I can't obviously read it here, but it's like you have to play the whole game. You can't get hit one time. Then you have to get to M Bison and make it 10 rounds without getting hit. It's just like, there's no way.
We made the criteria extremely hard because we didn't want people to just get it.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh wait, yeah, some
people were just like, I did exactly that and nothing happened. There was people that really tried it for that long and wasted all that money trying it, and they're just like, but nothing happened. This doesn't work.
All the arcade owners loved you for it. They're like,
oh yeah, they're like, thanks for the quarters.
Here you go. Here's a $100 check.
But for me, I think the funniest thing was like looking at the bottom saying, hey, somewhere in this magazine there's an April Fool's joke. If you find it, and it's right there, it's right on the same page that it's advertised. That to me was the funniest part.
It was awesome.
It's right there.
I just think it's a cool story. I think it's awesome. Like, it is in the Tricks of the Trade. You were there during, and that's like a legendary.
A lot of contributions. I can't take credit for all the stuff on the page, but it was in my section, and I was real happy it was there.
Story. I mean, like, I was digging around for like 5 minutes sitting on this. I'm like, I did not know like how much lore is behind this whole Shen Long thing.
It's ridiculous. It's still on the internet, and people are talking about it.
You know what was in Wreck-It Ralph?
Yeah.
There's a scene. I don't know. I say
Shang Long is in Wreck-It Ralph.
So there's a scene in Wreck-It Ralph.
I know the code. I know up, down, left, right, left.
No. There's a scene in Wreck-It Ralph where Fix-It Felix Jr. is standing. He's like by one of the portals or something that they go in, and there's graffiti on the wall. I should have put it in the stream here, but it says Shang Long was here.
Oh.
Like, I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's just funny. Like, I mean, that
it's still
EGM had that influence, and it's still a thing, and and how it influenced the game, and it's just funny. That's just a cool story.
Yeah, among gamers and people that understand the history. Yeah, it was a really fun thing.
Were there any other
fun to be a part of?
Any other cool? So I'm doing a quick time check too. I know we're a little past the hour here. I've got a couple more things we're gonna get through, and then we're gonna do a fun lightning round. We always recap with a lightning round, so I thought it'd be fun. But is there anything else? Any fun stories? Anything you want to share about any of your time at EGM? Or any other stories where you haven't touched on?
Let's see. Boy, I don't know if I'll get in trouble for this one. Well, no, it's not really that bad. I mean, the creator of the Konami code is the guy that I hope I don't butcher his name.
Right, that was last year. He passed away, right?
Yeah.
Good luck with the name.
Kazuhisa Hashimoto. I think that's his thing. Anyway, hopefully, if I don't get that right, please, I apologize.
Yeah.
But so he created the Konami code, but can you tell me who coined the name Konami code? Like, who called it that first?
I cannot.
We may have been the first.
Really?
I don't know. And I'm not going to claim that. I'm not going to claim that we were the first, but
the publication.
We may have. We may have coined it.
Would you have influenced that per se?
I don't know. I can't. I remember writing. I remember putting it in print.
Why has no one ever tracked this down? Like, where's the first publication
where's the
of the term Konami code?
I mean,
dude,
I don't know if it was GamePro. I don't know if it was EGM.
documentary,
I don't know exactly where it appeared first because I haven't gone through archives to find out.
But honestly, like that'd be a super cool story.
But it appeared on the internet like forever after that. You know, forever then, you know, it was just known because the internet took hold of it. But really, where did it originate? Because I do remember that they were calling, you know, when it appeared in Contra, they were calling it the Contra code. And you know, I don't know who actually started calling it the Konami code. I mean, it may have been, you know, like Famitsu, you know, in Japan or something. I don't really know. But I do remember, you know, typing it in to some of the trick sections to saying like, if you want, you know, do the Konami code, and then, you know, and then I would put what the Konami code was. I don't remember, you know, I mean, we weren't taking that from, you know, from any other source.
Sure.
So, you know, so I don't know.
Someone's got to chase that down. I feel like that's a cool story.
Yeah.
Right?
I would
such a legendary thing right now. I mean, I would
really be curious to know what the answer is. You know, I'm not going to claim
when it morphed
that
from
it was
Contra code to, hey, well, when it originally was probably like, hey, there's a code in Contra to maybe you're saying Contra code to being the Konami code.
Yeah, because, you know, nobody at the time was chasing down the creator of the code and saying, what do you call it? You know, I mean, that was just something that appeared later on. It was just like, it's like, oh, well, who created this thing?
Right.
And then they figured it out, and, you know, but was he calling it that? And then, you know, I mean, it, like I said, it could be some Japanese publication out there, you know, from back in the day, you know, having it in could have been in the late 80s or something before I even, you know, got a hold of it. I don't know, but who knows the answer to that? So that's going to be that would be an interesting thing to find out. Like where was it coined first? Where was, you know, the alliteration Konami code coined first? You know, what publication had it first? Not sure.
Yeah.
So
stake their name in that too. Like
it'd be nice.
It'd be cool to say.
But you know, I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm just curious. And then the other thing was in the Tricks of the Trade sidebar, you know, how there was a sidebar for, you know, like, you know, Trickman kills his car or something. There was one that I would revive every once in a while, and it was for something that I didn't know the answer to, so I would kind of put it out there, and it was called Most Wanted Trick. So if you look in some of these sidebars and you find Most Wanted Trick, that was something that I decided I wanted to do.
So what do you mean?
To kind of find out,
like you were looking for?
Yeah, it was basically like this. It would be cool if if ... actually happened. Like it would be cool if Mario could, you know, could jump, you know, like twice as high as he normally does, and do this, but, you know, but does it exist? So it was something that was in lore, but it was also something that was maybe like a possibility to actually be done. And one of them was from some reader sent in a picture, like an actual like a Kodak instant camera picture, some type of thing, and it was a picture of the original Mortal Kombat.
Okay. Arcade cap.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It was just a screen, and there was a character on the screen, and it was a ninja, and he was called Ermac. And we're like, who the heck is that? And we're like, this is a picture of this. He's like, I didn't do anything to this picture. I just took a picture of the screen. This is something that, you know, we found in there, but we'd never been able to do it again. How would we be able to do this? We have no idea. And so I put it out there, and I scanned the picture, I put it in, and I was like, you know, I posted a letter,
photo. So it's like, okay, like,
yeah, here's photo proof.
At the time, like, no one's photoshopping something, putting on printer paper, like photo paper.
Right. So here's photo proof, and that there's a character that may be in Mortal Kombat called Ermac.
Hmm.
And lo and behold, Mortal Kombat 3 comes out, and what character comes out in
Ermac.
Ermac's in there.
Yeah.
It was just like, so they took the the lore and actually made it into a character after that. But there may have been even more to it. I think there was something to where it was like they were like, it was like error code on machine or something like that, like ERMAC. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've heard something.
That's where it came from. That's cool.
Yeah. So because it was, and that could have been something that was left in there that they were using to test or something, and maybe, it's just like, okay, here's something for the ninjas, and then it'll just appear above his name is Ermac or whatever.
Right. Well, that's why they were saying all this Shenlong stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Like, supposedly like Akuma or whatever,
Yeah.
like a Shenlong character.
Oh,
but
you would not believe, because we had the original board for what was it, Super Street Fighter that it came out then, where he was.
I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't know.
I'm pretty sure it was Super Street Fighter, and then suddenly, like, Bison gets beat up, and then we're like, what?
This is what?
And then we're like, Kevin can't come over here. Look what happens. We got to the and then, like, there's this character that can do a lot of the things that he could do, and we're just like, wait,
this is Shenlong.
Name is Akuma. Wait, it's kind of close to Shing, but he's doing a lot of the things that you said that you said he did, Ken. Holy crap! But then,
wasn't it?
I think we like called Capcom, and they were just, oh wow, this is something we put in. Yeah. They were kind of just like denying it. Yeah. So we're just like
the layers in the background, like, no, you guys came up with this all on your own.
Yeah. So at least there was influence.
Oh, that's funny though.
Yeah. And then there was, and then I think Street Fighter 4 even had more influence.
Oh yeah, like I was reading some of the influence. Yeah. It's been a while. Like, a lot of cool stories.
Yeah. So it's just like some cool fake thing that we pulled off back in the day actually ended up being like the lore turned into like real characters, and that's really cool. I mean, I love that. I love that the lore turned into characters that were actually something that was that influential that they had to act on it.
That's super cool.
So cool stuff.
It's awesome. Fun stories. All right. So I'm doing a check on time. We have been cruising through this thing. We are well over an hour. So I love it though. So I'm going to jump ahead. I was going to quiz you on some codes here, but I'm going to assume you know them all.
Anyway. Yeah, from 30 years ago.
Maybe 30 years ago.
Maybe the Konami code.
The Punch-Out code. I know you know Konami code. Metroid code. You know all that stuff. You wrote about that stuff for 10 years, right? That's because you were at EGM for how long? 10 years, right?
10 years. Yeah.
So you know all that stuff. It's all in your memory. So
let's just go with that.
So we're gonna go. And I'm still working on getting sound effects as we keep maturing this stream every week over week. But boom, crash, lightning sound effect insert here. Right, very good. That's what we should make. We should make it as whoever is the guest star, they have to make their own lightning round sound. So you've just instituted that. Thank you, Terry.
Thanks.
All right, so lightning round. So we're going to close out with a lightning round. If you guys have any questions for Trickman Terry, feel free to type them in. Thanks again for joining us live. So it's just kind of a part of the show. We like to have some fun, ask Terry some dumb questions, and learn some more about you, but have a little bit of fun. All right, you ready?
Sure.
All right, sure. He sounds excited.
Yeah.
Favorite video game console?
Oh, it's a close tie between TurboGrafx 16 and Neo Geo.
Okay.
I love both of those.
But you gotta pick one. Let's do it. I'd pick TurboGrafx.
I'll go Turbo.
Which, by the way, I just got my Amazon order delayed again till January now on the TurboGrafx.
Yeah, me too.
Did you get that email today?
Yeah. I was like, forget that. So I went and ordered it in Japan.
Okay, I was talking about that afterwards because I went and tried to find out how to order these in Japan. I went to the Amazon, whatever. We'll talk about it offline. But
Sure.
I had to figure out how to get one in Japan because it was supposed to be, was it last year in September, then this
Yeah.
year in September,
Yeah.
then December.
Like
So
now it's 2021. No, I'm not gonna
I
wait that
can't
long.
wait that long. I gotta get some turbo graphics going. All right.
Right.
Remind me to
Right.
hit you up about that. All right.
Yep.
Most influential video game to you.
Most influential.
Influential.
Influential. Um, I'm gonna say it was Street Fighter 2, the original,
Okay.
just because there was never anything that I had seen previous or after that had gotten as much hype as as that had. And I'm not talking about just like fake hype. I'm talking about just like pure anticipation. Even for people that were around video games all the time, like the EGM editors, we were just like going to the arcade just to play Street Fighter in the anticipation of the Super Nintendo one coming out. We're just like we're practicing up. We're practicing up. We're just gonna like
That's
get good
cool.
at this. And so we were and so we would just I mean it became just this phenomenon of a game. And even to this day, people play like Super Turbo like it came
Oh
out
yeah, like it came
yesterday.
out. People are still
Yeah, they're flocking to the older ones, and they're and the ones that have influenced that,
doesn't
and
matter. That's still
and
fun.
really every modern fighter basically got influence from Street Fighter
It's
2.
built off of that model,
Yeah, it's
right?
built off that model.
That's what they were
That
saying with like the eventually, it would be like hidden characters and everything. Like it's all based off of
yeah,
yeah. It's
they're
just
just improvements over the original model, and
they got it
you know,
right like the
it-
first time.
yeah, they got it right. Yeah, Street Fighter
For
One
Street
was
Fighter 1. I was gonna say
okay.
Street Fighter 1.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that that was the model for I
No,
mean,
no.
for much, but I mean, yeah, it started it out, but Street Fighter 2 improved on it like
Oh yeah,
exponentially,
yeah.
and it became just this game that was so well balanced and played awesome right out of the gate that they just had to. I mean, everybody gives Capcom crap for like creating just like these mini versions. Like here's Turbo, now here's Turbo EX. It's just like here's another version of the same game. But really, they didn't really have to improve much upon the
No,
formula at
yeah,
all because it was such an awesome formula to begin with that they didn't really have to
agreed.
improve on it that much, and they just tweaked it.
And
And
like you're
people
saying
were just
too,
like,
it's
yeah,
still amazing. Like at our show last year, we were going to have a Street Fighter 2 tournament on the SNES, and it just didn't happen
yeah,
because we ran out of time. But people wanted this year, so it's on our schedule for this year. But like that's, and I know we could fill like a room of people playing Street Fighter 2, right?
yeah,
But there's gonna be no problem doing that. People would die to play like in a large scale tournament like that. Like it's just cool, you know?
yeah,
So
yeah. It's still influential now, and so yeah, I'd say that would be my
influential
number
game.
one.
I love it. Love
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
If you could travel through time, when would you travel to?
Oh boy.
When would you
Ba-
travel to?
Maybe back to 1982 and then be able to do this all over again.
That's cool. Hey, you love it.
With the knowledge I have now.
Yeah, just do it. I mean, you'd be like, all right, we need to hire that intern to take these screenshots of
Yeah.
these. You
Yeah.
know, Steve, I think a really good idea is we should hire an intern, right? Yeah.
Yep.
All right,
Exactly.
1982. So the same vein as time travel, Back to the Future, 1, 2, or 3.
Oh, people hate on two, but I love two for the reason of that you were able. I mean, back when I saw it in the theater, you were actually getting a glimpse into 2015 or whatever. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was 2015, and yeah, the only thing I'd change is like flying cars.
yeah, yeah.
But you know, and it's just like man, they
This
had
is
so
it.
much on, but and it's strange because they really had a lot on the money
Yeah, they
too.
did.
It's just like man,
Cubs,
they did pretty good.
Cubs winning the World Series. That's my next
Yeah,
question.
yeah, it was like next year, wasn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
exactly. It was
It
next
was like,
year.
wow, who could have predicted?
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So next question, where were you when the Cubs beat our Cleveland Indians in the 2016 World Series?
I might have been at my arcade.
Okay. Were you watching the game or no? Were you playing something?
No. We don't have any sports running
Sports
in the
running.
arcade. Yeah, we just have the arcade game.
You wanna do a plug for your arcade real quick? I was gonna end with that, but
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, right now, as I said, just like the other non-essential businesses, we're closed because of the coronavirus right now. But hopefully, when restrictions get lifted, that'll be soon, and we can open up again.
Pixel Blast
That'd be
Arcade,
great. Yeah,
right?
it's called Pixel Blast Arcade. It's in Lisle, Illinois, and
You
yeah,
guys have a website, right? You
we have a
wanna
website. Yeah, it's pixelblastarcade.com.
Perfect. Yeah,
Yep,
check it out once they're
yep.
open for business. You said what, you got like 100 cabs there?
At least 100 games, maybe. I'm kind of counting Neo Geo as maybe
Okay,
like
yeah.
four a piece. So,
Yeah.
but
100
in
sounds
in
good.
in the in the yeah, over 100 games definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's super cool.
plus we have air hockey and some pinball.
Nice,
We have like 4 pinball machines and
nice. Love pinball
and
now. I've been
yeah,
getting into pinball big time.
yeah,
Love
yeah,
it.
pins are fun. So yeah.
Um, so next question then to that point, favorite arcade cabinet or maybe just game you own? Favorite arcade game or game you own?
Uh, it's gonna be one that I don't have in the arcade, but I have in my house.
Well, that makes sense because I wouldn't wanna bring it to the arcade to have anyone touch it.
Yeah, I'm just like, I just can't.
That tells me it's probably valuable maybe?
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's very valuable, but I mean, it's influenced me for a long time. I used to really love it, just because it was innovative at the time. It's an old 1980 game called Berserk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Berserk
Sound
is
berserk.
yeah,
Oh, geez.
yeah. You're just like, wow, how'd they get that sound back then?
Sound
And
and
it's
the
just
color and
really
everything and
cool.
oh, jeez.
Yeah, and it's the ultimate like man versus robot,
Mhm.
and just you just have one laser. You know, you gotta escape the rooms. It's treacherous. It's heart pounding, and it's fast, and it's like, oh my god, it's just like one of those like, and you can't get very far
No,
because unless you're a super expert, you can't marathon that game,
no,
and
no, no. Yeah,
because it's just too hard.
it's intense.
It's
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 really
really,
intense.
really, really hard, but I love it. I don't know why, but I'm not that good at it, but I love the game,
Cool.
and it's just one of them. It's been one of my favorites ever since I was a little kid.
It's such a cool game.
Yeah.
Um, what music are you listening to right now? What kind of music are you listening to right now? Anything good?
Yeah, at the risk of sounding extremely bizarre.
Bizarre is good. So we got
Yeah,
the real answer.
yeah,
Don't give us some made
yeah.
up what we wanna hear. What are you listening to? If it's a
Okay.
band I've never heard of, I'll just say it. I've never heard of it.
Well, I can't even say what the bands are because okay, way back when I was a kid again, um, I used to they used to run these late night like jam sessions with these DJs. And
Jam
these
sessions.
Yeah, yeah. And basically they were called hot mixes, and they would take these this like urban beat music, and they would take this thing called back, it was from like Europe, called like Italo disco, they would call it.
Yep, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, and then it was just something that it would just be like
So that's what you're doing right
yeah,
now?
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
you're doing? That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and so there was all these um songs. I didn't know who they were produced by. I didn't know who put them out, and I've just been like, spending some of my time scouring the internet, finding like who these
What are you
artists
searching for?
are,
Tele
and
disco?
yeah, yeah, trying to find this like Chicago like house music, from that these old time like early '80s DJs were putting on and making mixes out of,
Like all
and
synth stuff too, is it? Is it like
yeah, a lot of synth, and oh my gosh, yeah, yeah.
I
So
love
it was
that
like
synth,
early
like
synth,
Blade
like
Runner
really.
synth stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it was crazy stuff, and I found maybe about like 20 something songs, and I do have a good friend who is a DJ,
Hmm.
and I haven't even asked him yet. Yeah, I'll ask him now. No.
Hey,
I haven't asked him yet, but I would love it if he could mix those into an actual like new old school mix for me.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
And if he doesn't do it, then I'm gonna learn how to do it
Yeah, just figure it out. Just
myself. I'll figure out how to do it myself.
Audacity or something, just overlay a bunch of
Yeah,
soundtracks. That's how
yeah,
we.
that wouldn't be anywhere near as good as this guy.
Yeah, that's how it all happens, right? That's
Nah,
cool. I love that
he
synth stuff.
no, he's amazing. But
I
yeah,
listen to a lot of Hans Zimmer and a lot of that stuff from. I like a lot of like music scores and soundtracks,
yeah.
and they do a lot of synth stuff. Love that stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, this is really old stuff. Plus,
That's cool
it's
though.
yeah, but it is a lot of synth, and
I
it's
like
all
it.
electronic keyboard
Teledisco.
stuff.
We're gonna just say you said Teledisco.
Sure.
Nintendo or Genesis?
People are gonna hate me. Neither. No. Well,
Well, Tim McVeigh said the same last time. He said,
yeah,
I think he picked TurboGrafx, which
yeah.
is,
I would probably pick TurboGrafx. I would probably pick if we had to go Nintendo, I would go Super Nintendo.
no, I'm talking NES
Or
or Genesis.
NES or Genesis. It's got to be Genesis, and for only for one reason. It's because when NES was out, I wasn't really a NES kid. I
Gotcha.
was, I was, I was a Commodore 64 kid.
Oh, no way. Okay.
I played on the computers, and so
For
I was
you and Tim, I know it's probably
yeah,
not a surprise, are a little bit older than me. So, I mean, I can
yeah,
understand that. Commodore
yeah.
64 is
But
definitely.
but I had that computer, and I had the floppy disks that had all the games, and there was games and games and games and
Oh,
games
yeah.
galore on that thing. And yeah, I used to play that thing to death. And so I started with that and got into to Nintendo later. And actually, I got into Genesis and Nintendo around the same time. But
Did you have a
who had
2600 or no?
2600? No, my friend did, and I didn't
Yeah,
have.
no.
My parents were just like, nah, these video
Yeah.
games are a waste of time. But yeah, but then look what happens to me.
Right. Yeah. I'm turn this into a career.
Yeah. But
All right.
yeah.
So
So I guess
Genesis.
the short answer is Genesis, I guess. Yeah.
I have to ask about pizza being outside of Chicago. Favorite style of
Mhm.
pizza? Deep dish Chicago, New York, like the thin crust New York, or what I call like a football style, like, like a Midwest football fat crust type of pizza. Which one? Chicago, New York, or football?
I guess I'm gonna have to go with thin crust first, but thin crust Chicago, because thin crust Chicago is cut in squares.
See, yeah, okay. There's a term for that too. What is that? It's not. It's like called a type of slice. It's like I want to say like a mother slice or something. There's a term. I'm drawing a blank on it right now, but there's an actual term for that where they cut it into squares.
Yeah,
I don't know. I got to watch some more pizza reviews. Apparently, I'm off the game right
yeah,
now.
but I like those, and then deep dish second.
Deep dish.
Yeah.
Oh, and then so what is it? It's Giordano's or what's the other place? Giordano's. There's Lou
Giordano,
Malnati's.
Lou
Lou Malnati's.
Malnati's.
Which one?
I'm gonna go. Boy, that's a good question.
I just thought of that. Sorry. Yeah.
I'm gonna go Malnati's because I like Malnati's crust.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's got this like yellow dough that's like cornmeal. Oh, it's really really good. And they also win because they have something called the Malnati's salad. And it's probably the worst salad in the world for you because
covered in provolone or something.
yeah, it's got tons of like crumbled blue cheese and bacon all in it, and
Sold.
sold. And their house dressing for it is just to die for. It's just amazing on it, and I love to have that with the pizza, and it's like yeah.
Sounds good.
There's a reason I have a little bit of weed on me.
No, you look great. You look great. It's just the quarantine adds the camera, adds a couple pounds of camera here. So speaking of food, what did you have for dinner tonight? Anything good?
I had cheeseburgers and
homemade, or did you go somewhere?
Just the frozen patties.
Yeah.
It was too. I was like, I don't know how long this is gonna take, so I need to make something simple. So frozen patties and potato salad.
Potato salad. You can never go wrong with a burger and a potato salad.
Yeah. Yep.
And then last question. I'm going to alter what I had here. Do you regret doing this interview? You could think about it.
I'll let you know in post.
Okay, you could let me know tomorrow.
Let me know in post.
Let me know tomorrow. We'll see.
I'm kidding. No, I had fun. I had a good time.
This was really fun.
Yeah.
So we're gonna kind of wrap things up here. But hang on, if I can get this text on there right. So, but Terry, thank you. It was really awesome having you on here. I'm glad we were able to connect. Tim McVeigh, thank you as well for hooking me up with Terry. It's been great. This has been
Tim's
super
awesome.
cool. Like, yeah, Tim, you guys are all great. Like, if anything, I feel like, John Salter, who we were talking about a little bit before the stream too, like
Yep.
all you guys, and I think a lot of the guys in the community are just stand up individuals. And quite honestly, I think it's cool that you guys take the time just to share these stories with me personally, and then I can spread them out to the community because it's cool stuff, right? Like Ian, you bring up like the Konami code or some of these stories at EGM. Like, where's the stuff coming from? I feel like
Right.
it needs to be kind of captured and documented, and it's also really fun to talk about. So it's a long way of me saying thanks, for you taking your time. I genuinely appreciate it.
My pleasure.
This is cool. So,
Yeah.
so thanks again, Terry Trickman. Great having you on. I appreciate it. If you guys have any other questions for Terry we didn't get to today, or you have, and you want to follow up with us, or have questions you want to ask for Terry in the future, if you guys want to see him back, I will gladly take another 2 hours of Terry's time and pay him the millions of dollars that are en route.
Wow.
Oh, there you go. Right. Yeah. With our massive budget we have here at the Cleveland Gaming Classic. But as always, thanks again, Terry. I appreciate you guys checking in the stream. You can always check us out at gamecleveland.com. And of course, just Google for us or search on all social media for Cleveland Gaming Classic. So thanks again, Terry. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.